Trying to snap a four-game losing streak. Larry Fedora hoping his team has answers on the defensive side of the ball. Meanwhile, Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech try to bounce back from their first loss of the season. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. As Matt Schick told you, the last time these two teams played here at Kenan Stadium, it was the highest scoring game in the history of ACC football. Georgia Tech winning 68-50. The ACC Coastal, it's in chaos once again. Duke beat Virginia earlier today, which means Georgia Tech is now part of a quartet of teams at 2-1 in league play. North Carolina at 0-2 in conference, still just one game back in the loss column. Good evening, Anish Shroff alongside former first-round pick Kelly Stauffer. North Carolina still very much in the division race in the Coastal, but for the Tar Heels to have a second-half turnaround like they did last season, they've got to get it right on defense. Yeah, and even in the loss last week against Notre Dame, UNC coach Larry Fedora found some hope in that. They played well really on both sides of the ball. A little better defensively. They have a huge task ahead of them today. Look at those numbers. There isn't anything good in that graphic right there you can hang your hat on if you're defensive-minded North Carolina. They have a huge task ahead of them today. The option that they're going to be facing against the play caller, head coach for Georgia Tech, Paul Johnson, is a great in-game adjuster. And what his option offense does is it makes you be assignment sound. UNC defensively has anything but that this year. Let's go down to the field and the third member of our crew, Kara Capuano.
Thanks, Anish. Guys, one aspect to watch in tonight's game, the contrast in offensive pace. Georgia Tech averages a methodical 29 seconds of possession per play, the most patient pace in the ACC. North Carolina averages 19 seconds, quickest in conference, third fastest in the nation. Georgia Tech head coach Paul Johnson telling us the goal against an up-tempo offense, force them into 3-and-outs. That brings the opponent's defense back to the field on short rest. Defensive fatigue only half the concern for North Carolina's Larry Fedora. He also mentioned the mental drain on his offense if they have to sit and watch from the sidelines while the Yellow Jackets grind out a sustained drive. Which rhythm will prevail?
Thank you, Carol. When Georgia Tech's offense is clicking, it is psychological warfare on the opponent. The Yellow Jackets won the toss. They will defer, so North Carolina will receive the opening kick. Harrison Butker to kick it off for Georgia Tech. And that'll go out of the end zone as TJ Thorpe watches it sail by, and North Carolina will have the ball first. The Heels have been one of the most disappointing teams in college football. They opened the year in the preseason top 25, won their first two games, and then lost 4 in a row. 3 of those losses to teams that entered this week in the AP top 25. And during that 4-game losing streak, the defense has been awful. They've given up 70, 50 twice, and 34 to Virginia Tech. Marquise Williams coming off one of the best games by a quarterback in ACC history, the quarterback for UNC. And Williams making plays with his feet, throws incomplete, intended for Jack Taft. Kelly, last week, Williams 300 yards passing, 100 plus on the ground. He also caught a touchdown. He was outstanding in a near win for UNC against Notre Dame. Yeah, and you add everything that he does into the up-tempo approach that they do here at UNC, and it makes it a tough matchup if he's seeing things clearly. Bubble screen to Switzer, and Ryan Switzer to the outside, driven out by Damon Smith, about 2 yards shy of the first down. So 3rd and 2. And these early drives are important for North Carolina. As you heard from Kara's report, Georgia Tech wants a few 3-and-outs to get this rhythm offense off the field. Yeah, UNC has to be efficient, but possessing the ball would certainly help their defense as this game goes along. Romar Morris starting the game in the backfield for North Carolina. Tar Heels in the black uniforms. This is Williams on the quarterback keeper, and he dives across the 40-yard line for a first down and a flag at the end of the play.
Holding, offense, number 3, 10-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
That has been a big problem for North Carolina all season. Penalty-wise, they've been like the Oakland Raiders at times.
Yeah, and it's really unusual, and Larry Fedora had no answer for it whatsoever. And the last 4 games have been absolutely horrendous. And when you need to be ultra efficient offensively, you can't have plays like that.
So it's now 3rd and 6 after the holding call. Five-man rush. Williams has time, too high. Intended receiver Quinshot Davis, and he was covered by DJ White. So 4th down coming up. Tommy Hibbert on to punt it away. And watch out for number 6 in white for Georgia Tech, Chris Milton. 5 blocked kicks since the start of last season.
And special teams may play a big role tonight. In games that can be high-scoring games and defenses are challenged, special teams sometimes can flip the field.
Hibbert gets this one off. Jamal Golden retreats to his 25-yard line. Golden, a dangerous return man. No real estate, and he's dropped back at the 20-yard line. So we get our first look at this Georgia Tech offense led by sophomore Justin Thomas. He leads the team in passing and rushing. Thomas last week against Duke hurt his ankle in the first half. Didn't come out of the game until the 4th quarter, but Paul Johnson says he's good to go.
Yeah, and he's really tailor-made for what Paul Johnson likes to do offensively. He's a former 100-meter champion, so he has a lot of explosiveness in him, but running the option, both the triple option and the double option, are right in his wheelhouse.
Thomas will open up with a pass over the middle, open receiver. That's Dion Hill across midfield, and Hill still on his feet before he goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line. A 47-yard gain on the first play from scrimmage for Tech.
And when the defense spends all week getting geared up for the option, what do? They take their eyes off of their read keys, and this is what happens. Dion Hill ends up unabated into that secondary, and that's the tough assignment. Is the play action off of the run game is absolutely lethal when things are rolling for Georgia Tech.
Tony Zennin in motion. Here's the pitch. Perkins can't handle it, and North Carolina covers it up. Norkeithus Otis recovers the fumble. And yes, this UNC defense much maligned, but they do force turnovers.
Yeah, this is actually a fairly bad pitch. There wasn't a good relationship between Hill and the quarterback, Thomas, right there. They're too close together, and Hill didn't expect that ball that quickly. And actually, he should have been allowed to get outside a little bit more, and that was actually Perkins, I believe, on that. But
on the zone read, here's Romar Morris, and he gets a couple of yards. 2nd down and 8. You'll see a lot of Romar Morris and TJ Logan in the run game for North Carolina. The true freshman Elijah Hood out with a knee injury. Williams on 2nd and 8, over the middle to Jack Tabb, the tight end, and the lone senior starter. The ball came out, but he was already ruled down. And it's a 1st down for the Tar Heels, a gain of 10.
We'll see if Tabb was down, and I believe he was down before the ball came out.
Here's the give. No, Williams will keep it, and Williams to the 41-yard line, a gain of 5.
That's the design quarterback zone read with the running back. In that case, it was Morris going outside, and then Williams cutting it up inside.
Heels going quickly, blitz off the edge. UNC picks it up. Williams steps up, throws on the run, and it's intercepted by Jamal Golden. And Golden finally tackled at the 30-yard line. So both teams with a couple of early turnovers, and Williams had an opportunity to take off.
Yeah, and he had an opportunity to get this ball over top of the defender, Golden, as well. And this was not a bad decision. It was just a bad throw. He didn't get enough air under it, and Golden takes advantage of it. The mobility off of the moved pocket right there, he steps up, and he just has to get a little air under it and put it over to the sideline. Just not a very good throw.
A sloppy start for both teams. Georgia Tech and North Carolina each with a turnover early on. 12 minutes to go in the first quarter. Georgia Tech and North Carolina each with an early turnover. The last time these two teams played in Chapel Hill, it was the highest scoring game in the history of ACC football. Jamal Golden, who just had the interception, took a kickoff back for a touchdown in the second half. The Tar Heels answering back, a 78-yard touchdown by Giovanni Bernard. And then Van Lee to Robert Godhigh for the touchdown. This was a wild one. 68-50, 118 total points. Almost 1,100 total yards of offense, and 11 different players scored a touchdown. And afterwards, Georgia Tech head coach Paul Johnson lamented about a two-point conversion that the Yellow Jackets could not convert on.
Oh, you want to hang 70 when you have a chance, right?
North Carolina has already seen that movie once this season. East Carolina hung 70 on the heels. Thomas on the option, the pitch to Perkins. He feels this one clean. Perkins across the 40-yard line, and he's to the 43, tackled by Tim Scott. Charles Perkins averaging almost 11 yards per carry this season.
And you're going to see a variety of options. That was really the load option where you fake up inside to the fullback and the quarterback takes it to the edge. The quick pitch and the A-back on that side. The up-back leads around the edge, and that's the load block of that version of the option.
Both teams with a turnover early in this game, and that's what Paul Johnson said his team could not do. They turned it over 3 times against Duke. As Thomas gets to the edge and dives across midfield, he's about a yard shy of the first down, a gain of 9. Georgia Tech, going into last week's game against Duke, was leading the ACC in turnover margin. They had only turned it over 4 times in 5 games, but 3 in the second half really doomed any hope of a comeback against the Blue Devils.
Those 4 games you're talking about, they had 208 rushes, only 2 fumbles. I mean, there's an intricate ball handling in this offense, and you can see right there, they typically take very, very good care of it. And if they take care of it, they win games.
Here's the B-back, Zach Lasky, and he's going to be close. The B-back, like your fullback in an option offense.
Yeah, and Lasky basically never loses an inch. He's always going forward, and that's why they convert, just like they do on this drive right here. And that's exactly what Georgia Tech wants to do. They establish the fullback, Lasky, in the middle, and then they expand to the outside with the quarterback running the alley in the quarterback run game, and also the pitch guy outside. Inside, established, expand to the outside.
Lasky again over the middle, and he gets another yard, 2nd and 9, tackled by DeJuan Drennan, the defensive end.
The thing that makes this offense so difficult, Anish, is it really makes the defense simplified, because you have to be so assignment sound. You can't be intricate. That doesn't mean you can't pressure the blocking schemes and so forth, but you have to be simplified and you have to be sound with your eyes. What's your assignment, and trust your teammates to carry out their assignment as well.
Perkins in motion. Thomas off play action, pumps. Now he looks to take off. Thomas throws on the run, and that's caught far sideline by Darren Waller, who had 5 catches for a career-high 96 yards last week.
This is where Thomas, I think, is at his best. This is all impromptu. Does a very good job of reading to the right side, and then it's his feet that get him back to the other side with Waller, and I think we have a late flag here.
Yeah, late penalty, an ineligible receiver on Georgia Tech.
And Paul Johnson's teams typically take really good care of the football, and they're a low penalized team. They're highly efficient in this offensive approach.
Paul Johnson, who's been running this offense for a long time, did it at Navy, did it at Georgia Southern. He has almost perfected this.
Yeah, and what he does is he targets the defense in terms of who has what assignment, and then that lethal play action passing game comes off of targeting those specific players.
Thomas fakes the toss to St. John Days. He's being chased, throws it near sideline, incomplete. Good coverage that time, and good pressure by Shaquille Rashad.
And that's something, Anish, that North Carolina hasn't gotten a lot of, is pressure. And the 3rd and 13 that you see on the bottom of the screen there is exactly how you have to play defense against Georgia Tech. You pressure 1st and 2nd down and funnel them into a pass down. This is exactly the way North Carolina has a chance to win tonight.
Georgia Tech has converted on 59% of its 3rd downs this season. That's the best mark in college football. Play clock winding down. Thomas rolls to his left, under pressure, chased by Otis, throws it, and it's caught far sideline. And Tony Zenon's got a 1st down for the Yellow Jackets, a pickup of 25.
Initially, this is very well defended, but it turns into a back shoulder throw, and I don't think it was on purpose. The finesse by the quarterback, Thomas, and Zenon is looking back for the football, and it becomes a back shoulder fade, and very well executed, but I don't think that was the intention.
Deion Hill in motion, the give to the fullback, Lasky. He picks up another yard, and the ball comes loose. I believe they blew the whistle, and they did.
They blew the whistle, but if this ball came out before Lasky got to the ground, North Carolina can actually recover it as long as it's right after the play.
Looks like he's down.
I think his head is down before that ball comes out. I think that was a good call and a good use of the whistle by the official.
Looks like that right elbow down. Well, you mentioned earlier, Lasky doesn't go backwards. 320 plus carries for his career. He got a yard on that last one, but only 4 negative rushes. Roderick Snoddy in motion. He gets it on the pitch. Breaks the tackle in the backfield. Snoddy inside the 20-yard line, and Georgia Tech in the red zone. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Brian Walker, the corner, doing a very good job of forcing pressure across the line of scrimmage early, and that's what you have to do against this option scheme. And then you saw the toss sweep right there, but it's all the same. You have to attack the run game aggressively and try to get them into negative plays, which is not easy against Georgia Tech.
For the Yellow Jackets, this may very well be 4-down territory. Paul Johnson known for going for it on 4th down. It's 3rd and 2. Thomas will keep it. Looks like he's got the 1st down for Georgia Tech.
There we see even a different version, more of the midline option, and that just means it's a tighter option. After faking to the fullback, the quarterback follows him right up the middle to try to convert right here.
The chain gang comes out, so we'll measure to see if Thomas got the 1st down. Our yellow line can be off sometimes by a little bit. Stop.
Half of football, and this drive thus far has been so prototypical. Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech is just march it down, extend drives, possess the football, eke out a 1st down, but then finish in the red zone. And they have an offense that's tailor-made for finishing well in the red zone.
Paul Johnson told us this week, we're not trying to run clock, we're just not in a hurry.
Says he just flat doesn't believe in it. We could if we wanted, we just choose not to.
Thomas pump fakes, and down he goes. Sacked by Junior Nankande. It's a loss of 2 and 2nd and 12. And for UNC, you can get Georgia Tech into 2nd and longs and 3rd and longs, passing downs. You've got a chance against this offense.
Yeah, the order of the day is prevent explosives, but you have to get this offense behind schedule, and that's what they are right now. 2nd and 12 is not exactly the wheelhouse of Georgia Tech offensively.
Perkins and Zenon, the A-backs. They flank the fullback, Lasky. And now Thomas, the late pitch. He's got Perkins on the perimeter. And Perkins trying to dive for extra yards, and they'll mark him out inside the 5-yard line. Brian Walker pushed him out.
And this is the triple option. It's the dive inside, quarterback gets to the edge, and then it's the pitch to Perkins. 3 different options. Fullback, do they have that assignment down? Yes. Quarterback takes it to the edge. Do they take the quarterback? Yes. And then they get it to the edge with number 21, Charles Perkins. Very difficult, and that's their medium passing game right there.
Vintage Georgia Tech drive. 6 minutes plus. This is the 12th play. They give this to Lasky, and he's in for a Georgia Tech touchdown.
Prototypical Georgia Tech drive, Anish. Possess the football and then pay it off with the fullback. And Lasky knows how to pay it off. It makes it so difficult, and he actually does a very nice job of securing that ball. That wasn't seated into his belly very, very well by Justin Thomas, but Lasky does that quite well. Finishing drives in the red zone.
4th rushing touchdown for Lasky, the senior from Peachtree City, Georgia. Extra point by Harrison Butker is good, and Georgia Tech strikes first. Now first it was the triple option. Perkins giving Georgia Tech a 1st and goal situation, and then the big boy Lasky right up the middle for 6. Down run has given Georgia Tech a 7-0 lead. The Yellow Jackets getting those points off of a North Carolina turnover. Anish Shroff, Kelly Stuffer, Kara Capuano, and Kelly, that was a vintage Georgia Tech drive.
And it's a type of drive that I'm not sure that Larry Fedora's team has an answer for defensively. Possess the football, extend the drive by just eking out a 1st down, and then your fullback Lasky pays it off, and that's exactly what just drives the dagger in the heart of most defenses against this scheme.
TJ Thorpe and Brian Walker back deep for UNC. Thorpe from his own end zone. Thorpe across the 20-yard line, and he tumbles to the 24. Kevin Weidel from Scout Sync is with us, and as Marquise Williams comes on for his 3rd series. Kevin, when you watch Marquise Williams on tape, what jumps out?
Well, watching him last week, I thought he did a great job of handling the pocket. On the road at Notre Dame, I threw a lot at him with the poise. But what I liked about him, I thought he showed poise. He had awareness. He got rid of the ball on time. He beat the blitz, was able to get through the pocket and keep his eyes downfield as well. Still has some work to do in terms of overall mechanics. We see the accuracy, the touch issues. But the one thing you like about him, he's got the physical tools and he's got the toughness in the pocket, which is a necessary baseline.
Well, TJ Logan just got the call on 1st down, picked up 5. On 2nd and 5, back to Logan. He finds a seam, runs into the referee who impeded his progress a little. And Logan finally brought down by the safety, Isaiah Johnson, a gain of 14. Seth Littrell, who's in charge of the North Carolina offense, told us he's looking for a running back to be his lead guy. Williams over the middle, receiver open, and that's caught at midfield. Catch made by Quinshaw Davis, a gain of 7.
And you really see UNC's desire to go up tempo, and this is really when they're at their best. Be able to go up tempo by extending plays.
Screen pass to Switzer. He takes a big hit as he gets across the 45. Brought down by Quayshawn Neely, Georgia Tech's most experienced player on defense.
This really thins out a defense when you spread it out anyway formationally, but then they go up tempo, and UNC is about as fast as any offense in the country.
And a flag as the snap trickled to the ground in front of Williams.
Infraction, number 68 offense, 5 yards, 1st down.
That's the center, Lucas Crowley. He's replacing a pretty good one in Russell Bodine. who left early for the NFL, and Williams is down.
And Williams tried to get in there to recover what he thought was a fumble because of that errant snap and the early snap, and then someone just rolls right on him. Actually, he got stepped on, but I think he got hit in the head, actually. That is an interesting, bizarre play. Right into the backside of the center Crowley that was being backed up into him. That is about as bizarre as it gets.
Now, this is North Carolina's third drive. In the past, we've seen Mitch Trubisky early in the year come on for that third drive. It didn't happen last week. Trubisky may be called on here when we come back. Marquise Williams took a hit to the head from one of his linemen's.
How bizarre was that?
Broad backsides, and it was a broad backside by Landon Turner.
Landon Turner, he's not small back there, and I think it just kind of jarred his neck a little bit.
So back up Mitch Trubisky in the game, hands it off to TJ Logan, and Logan zigzags all the way to the 36-yard line. And it looks like Williams is okay. Trubisky leaves. Marquise Williams back in. He had to come out by rule for at least one play.
Second down.
There's Romar Morris. And he plunges across the 35 to the 34. Short of the first down. Williams is the team's leading rusher, and he'll sneak it ahead. I don't think he's going to get it, judging on the spot.
Yeah, tried to catch Georgia Tech off guard on that defensive line of scrimmage right over the nose, and Georgia Tech had that well diagnosed.
So 4th down and 1, and you leave the offense out on the field if you're Larry Fedora.
Oh, no doubt about it. You need as many points as you can get. Possessions will be limited against Georgia Tech in the way they approach things offensively.
Nick Weiler, the kicker, is long field goal, only 23 yards. This from no man's land, and UNC able to pick up the first down. It's TJ Logan for a gain of 3, and Logan has sparked this run game early on.
He really has, and this is another variety of the quarterback zone read, and now the running back Logan is up inside with the ability for Williams to take it outside if the read so takes him out there, but it's a changeup in the run game early.
Williams, quarterback draw across the 30, and he's brought down at the 26-yard line by Neely, a gain of 5.
And the play calling is just all about how do we get Williams in space, use his creativity and his spontaneity, and that's a very good call right there. The quarterback draw early in this game.
Here's Logan again, follows his blockers, gets across the 20, and gets a Tar Heel first down. TJ Logan, 5 carries, 42 yards. In his previous 3 games, he had 8 carries for 21 yards.
And the play caller, Seth Luttrell, told us that the running backs have to create more on their own, and right now Logan is getting that done.
Georgia Tech, that time, crowded the box, and there's no room for Logan. The true freshman, Keyshawn Freeman, who Georgia Tech is really high on making the stop.
Yeah, Freeman is trying to take over for those production numbers that Atauchu they lost when he graduated, and that's tough sledding, tough shoes to fill, but they need more production out of the defensive line of scrimmage for Georgia Tech.
One high safety look for Tech. Williams throws over the middle. Good pass in traffic. And that's another first down. Bug Howard makes the catch. A gain of 13.
Howard does a really nice job, Anisha, sliding into that next window. It was a tight window to begin with, but Howard slid just a little bit more and gave Williams the target.
Another screen pass. That's caught. And a touchdown for North Carolina. Bug Howard again.
The speed in which this play comes made it difficult for Georgia Tech to get lined up properly defensively. You can see the safety, Jamal Golden, was coming from the inside, and that's not the way you want to attack that now screen to the edge.
A 13-play, 76-yard drive, capped by an 8-yard touchdown pass from Marquise Williams to Jonathan Bug Howard.
The best thing that North Carolina does offensively. Get Williams in space, but up-tempo is really their calling card.
Tell you what, when a guy has a nickname Bug, you think he's a little guy, but Howard is 6'4", and the one thing this North Carolina receiving core has is size.
The key with that now screen is your force has to come from the right place. This is Golden, and really, there has to be force outside, and then Golden fills here, but the force doesn't come. Go ahead and let it roll, guys. Right there, there's a lane outside. The up defender really has to collision and jump outside and give Golden that path to run down the alley inside, and it didn't happen right there.
North Carolina is going to have some chances against a Georgia Tech secondary that has struggled at times this season. The two safeties for the Yellow Jackets, Golden, who couldn't make the initial tackle on Bug Howard. He's coming off a big injury from last year. Isaiah Johnson, the other safety, missed all of last season with an injury. And early on, you look at the numbers, time of possession even. Everything except for plays pretty much even so far, both teams with a turnover as well.
They get to it differently, but both offenses have the opportunity to score a lot of points here this evening.
Roderick Snoddy from his own 1 yard line. Snoddy with terrific speed across the 20, and then dragged out of bounds at the 26 yard line.
22, Roderick Snoddy.
Georgia Tech has won 14 of the last 16 against North Carolina, including 5 in a row. UNC's last win in 2008, although that win had to later be vacated. Thomas on the triple option. Late pitch, it's there. And Charles Perkins picks up a first down. And as we mentioned earlier, Perkins, every time he touches the ball, is good for about 10, 11 yards.
And this is the key right here. This defender, if he crashes down on the fullback, that's when Thomas extends it to the edge. Defensive end inside, Thomas goes to the edge. They take him. He continues outside with the pitch. That's the true triple option. With Thomas running this offense, it's about a third of what Paul Johnson calls offensively.
That was Deion Hill rather than Charles Perkins. First down for the Yellow Jackets. Thomas to throw. Fires near side. That's caught by DeAndre Smelter. Good for a first down for the Yellow Jackets. Smelter came to Georgia Tech on a baseball scholarship. Big-time pitcher out of high school, and he's become a big part of this receiving game.
Now 6'3", over 220 pounds. Watch Thomas actually call Smelter back right there. That was good stuff. It became kind of an impromptu play, and right there Smelter sees his quarterback, work back to the line of scrimmage. That's textbook in how to bail your quarterback out late in that pass play.
We have played one quarter here in Chapel Hill. Georgia Tech in North Carolina, all tied up at 7. The Yellow Jackets driving in UNC territory.
No, bad mama see this ain't no mediocre. No, want no mediocre. I won't need no mediocre. You bad shit. Slap that on a mediocre. You stand on a mediocre. 7. Women with me and none on mediocre. From their head to their...
Again, to be a wide open ACC Coastal Division, Georgia Tech, one of 4 teams at 2-1 in conference. Nobody's undefeated in the Coastal in league play. Meanwhile, North Carolina looking for its first ACC win of the season. Larry Fedora told us yesterday, yeah, they're 0-2, but they still have a chance to win this thing, and they're only a game back in the loss column. First and 10, Georgia Tech. And Zach Lasky drags the tackler all the way to the 40-yard line, a gain of 9, brought down by Malik Simmons.
And Lasky is kind of the temperature taker. They keep going back to that fullback to make sure the defense hasn't forgot about him, because we always have to remember in this triple option, double option approach, it's establish the fullback and expand things to the edges.
Georgia Tech averages more than 290 yards per game on the ground. That's top 10 nationally. We'll give it to Lasky, rather. Perkins around the edge. Yeah, the UNC defense fooled, and Perkins takes it inside the 30-yard line all the way to the 25.
This is a very nice job of UNC jumping down on the fullback, and quarterback rightly pulls it and goes to the edge. The quick pressure, and then it's the pitch. Can UNC defend all three areas? Fullback, up the middle in the A-gap, quarterback to the edge, and then the pitch man clear out on the perimeter. Very tough assignment.
On first down, this is Lasky, and he stumbles across the 20 to the 18. Give him 7, 2nd and 3.
You know, in addition, that first quarter, Paul Johnson saw that Georgia Tech had some success getting to the edge. And so what's going to happen is they probe once again that fullback to establish the fullback, and then they'll get to the edge if they can. And Paul Johnson is such a good in-game adjuster. Who is taking the fullback, who has a quarterback, who has a pitch man, and then we target those defenders.
On 2nd and 3, Thomas will keep it himself, and he picks up a Yellow Jackets first down, a gain of 4. There's Paul Johnson with a win today. The Yellow Jackets would be bowl eligible, and in Johnson's 17 previous seasons as a head coach, his teams have reached the postseason 16 times.
And he is the offensive brain trust. I mean, everything basically passes through him. He breaks down the tape, he forms the game plan, and then brings his offensive assistants into the room.
Sending in motion. This is Lasky, and he's got nowhere to go. Junior Nankande led the charge for UNC, only a yard.
And what Paul Johnson will do is, Nankande, what position does he play? He's a defensive end. He's the one that had Lasky, so then they'll target that. How do we adjust? How do we change our blocking? If our fullback's taken away, then the next time Nankande jumps down on the fullback, we take it to the perimeter with the quarterback running the alley and their pitch man outside of him.
8th play of the drive. Lasky on the give, plows across the middle, and he's about a yard and a half shy of the first down marker. 3rd and short.
Lasky on the carry. Third down, Georgia Tech.
And you said it, 3rd and short. Once again, Georgia Tech is in their wheelhouse just to keep it driving.
Last year, this offense sputtered at times with Vad Lee at quarterback. He was not the ideal fit for Paul Johnson's system. Justin Thomas has been terrific so far. On 3rd down, Thomas will try to keep it, and North Carolina's defense may have made a stand here. It looks like Georgia Tech will be marked just shy of the yellow line. It's going to be close.
And I don't think Paul Johnson will hesitate to go for it if indeed they are short. 6 out of 7 on the year. And that's kind of his MO. Keep the field goal kicker off the field and get down into that really manageable down and distance, whether it's 3rd and short or 4th and short, and just try to convert.
Zach Lasky only 4 carries for negative yards in his career.
Not a bad guy to give it to.
Lasky, the fullback, flanked by Hill and Perkins. And timeout, Georgia Tech.
Timeout, Georgia Tech. Their first time out of the half.
Big 4th down coming up when we come back. Georgia Tech and UNC locked up at 7 on the UNC campus. 4th and 1 coming up for Georgia Tech. The offense out on the field. No surprise, the Yellow Jackets 6 of 7 on 4th down this season. And Paul Johnson in these short yardage situations throughout his career has looked at it as a 4-down game.
Yeah, and he has an offense that's designed to convert plays like this, and you would think that it's going to be Lasky up the middle or Justin Thomas ducking in right behind him. What they call the midline option is where the quarterback follows the fullback up the middle if the fullback doesn't get it.
Here's the pitch. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. But there is a flag. Dion Hill got in.
False start, offense, number 75. 5 yards, 4th down.
The left tackle, Aaron Joe, jumped. And now Paul Johnson may have to rethink this.
And Aaron Joe got a little jumpy because he was the point of attack. He had a difficult block outside. Look at all the pressure up in the middle. Paul Johnson understands that, and then it's the toss sweep outside. And you can see 75 Aaron Joe just flinches a little bit early, and when you're 313 pounds, a flinch is a pretty decent movement.
So Harrison Butker on for the field goal attempt.
Those little plays like that allow UNC to stay in games like this. When Georgia Tech is not taking advantage of things in the red zone and or turn the ball over, UNC has an open door.
This is a 27-yarder for Butker, who's 6 of 10 on the season. And Butker splits the uprights. So a penalty on 4th and 1. Georgia Tech has to settle for 3. And Paul Johnson letting Joe have it. NC defense, that last possession, a small but needed victory.
Oh, I think that's a really huge victory, to be honest with you. Anytime you can keep Georgia Tech out of the end zone in the red zone, that's good stuff.
There's TJ Thorpe. And Thorpe across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Now on the other sideline, Paul Johnson upset with Aaron Joe, his tackle, who jumped off sides, and 4th and 1 turned into 4th and 6. And instead of going for it, you've now got a kick.
Yeah, and Paul Johnson's offense is designed to be incredibly efficient. Finish drives, but also don't have those pre-snap killers like they had right there that took them out of the end zone, and they had to settle for 3. But what Joe has to learn to do right there is avoid the head coach. You have to take the clearest path to the sideline and then get behind the bench as quickly as you can.
You sound like you've been part of this movie before.
I have. I've learned every technique to avoiding the play caller.
TJ Logan on 1st down, cuts it back to the middle, and it dropped to the 25-yard line. Logan up to 45 yards. North Carolina has only had one 100-yard rushing game by a running back since Giovanni Bernard left school.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. And they got the running game going last week. They were able to keep it going because they had the lead against Notre Dame. That's actually the template to win here tonight as well.
You saw the graphic, no run for more than 19 yards this season. That's Austin Proehl. His dad, you know pretty well, Ricky Proehl, played for a long time in the NFL and was an outstanding possession receiver.
Yeah, someone like Proehl is, and Proehl had some room to run there out in the edge and just couldn't pick up his feet.
On 3rd down, Williams, that's caught by Switzer right at the 1st down marker.
And we will see UNC go fast once again. Switzer converts, a very accurate throw to convert by Williams, and Williams is really a rhythm kind of flow guy, especially in the pass game. If he gets off to a quick start, sometimes he has really, really good games.
3-man rush. Williams downfield for Switzer. He has the DB beat, and there goes Ryan Switzer all the way to the house, and the Tar Heels take the lead. Seth Luttrell told us yesterday Ryan Switzer is still developing as a wide receiver. He's not there yet, but Switzer, 4 catches, 88 yards, 68 on that play.
Tremendous return, guys. So if you can get him in space, he has the maneuverability and the speed to make plays like that. He got on the safety, Corey Griffin, and made him pay for it.
Extra point is good, and North Carolina responds with a haymaker. Williams to Switzer, 68 yards for 6. He's is frozen, and his quarterback, Marquise Williams, let it go. And when Williams let it go, Switzer was gone.
Were you also referring to a song in Frozen, Let It Go, right?
Look at you. You're catching on with this pop culture stuff.
See, you can refer to those because my children watch those, but don't go anywhere outside of kind of those type of movies. I'd appreciate that.
We'll stay in the Disney
but
family.
He also froze the safety, Corey Griffin,
Look
as well
at
the top of that still. We'll see that hopefully on replay, but that was a very well-designed route.
Jamal Golden, the deep man, he took a kickback against North Carolina 2 years ago here. Let's go back to the TD.
Well, Switzer is right here, and he's going to run a route and get onto this safety, Griffin. Go ahead and let it go, guys. And watch the move at the top. That move outside forces this corner to jump all over it. And that's all Switzer needs to slice him up inside, and then the big play. Well designed, but that was a very good route and a well-thrown ball in the end by Williams.
Switzer has had some big plays this season. 75-yard touchdown against Clemson. That one good for 68. Justin Thomas to the air underneath. The Lasky sheds one tackler, and he's dropped at the 30-yard line by Brian Walker. That's a gain of 5.
The epicenter of this offense is Lasky. They'll establish the run up the middle in the A and B gaps with him, and then the screen game right there. The fake pitch, what they're trying to do is invite that secondary down in their run defense, and then they throw the screen outside.
Snoddy in motion. They give us to Lasky, and he's up the gut, and he's got a Yellow Jackets first down, a gain of 6.
Ethan Farmer, number 96 on the tackle. Ball spotted at the 36-yard line.
Lasky once again, and he's to the 40-yard line. Give him 4 more. Get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN at 10 a.m. It's Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers. And for all of the latest fantasy news, check out Fantasy Football Now, delivered by Papa John's. That's at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. A heavy dose of Lasky on this drive. He remains in on second down. Thomas keeps it on the option. Justin Thomas picks up a first down, tackled again by Nankande. Thomas's nickname is Smooth. He originally committed to Alabama, but Nick Saban didn't see him as a quarterback. They saw him as a defensive back. Paul Johnson said all the right things, convinced him to come to Georgia Tech. He's a redshirt sophomore, and he has really taken off, replacing Vad Lee, who transferred and went to James Madison. Thomas, he's got a big arm too. Downfield for Smelter, who can't haul it in with one hand. Let's go down to the field and Kara.
That big arm we just saw there, Anish, I was reminded of when North Carolina's defensive coordinator Vic Koenig told us about Thomas, how underrated he is as a passer. But what Paul Johnson told us about Justin Thomas, he just needs to continue to learn within this offense. You can't force anything. You've got to stay within your game. They spend a lot of time correcting and reviewing, and they've done it in-game as well. I've been watching them.
4 for 6, 89 yards so far. Thomas options to his left, nowhere to go, and he goes down. That was good defense, and Junior Nankande has had a terrific first half for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, playing that defensive end position, and this is one of the change-ups. Nankande does a very good job of getting off the polar right there. The offensive lineman that was leading around uses his hands well and then makes the play outside. That wasn't happening in the first quarter. That's a nice play.
3rd and 10, and this is where this Tar Heel defense wants Georgia Tech. Here's the blitz. Thomas chased, gets away from one defender. Otis giving chase. Thomas heaves it downfield and out of bounds. And a big hold by this UNC defense, which has played much better in this first half than in the last 4 games.
And the key in all of that, Anish, was the 3rd and long situation. When they know it's a passing down, and then Vic Koenig can dial up a little pressure, and Rashad doesn't get him, but he forces Thomas outside the pocket, and that's a good decision right there. That play was DOA, and Thomas should have thrown that ball away.
The dangerous Ryan Switzer back deep for North Carolina. He returned 5 punts for touchdowns last year, tying an NCAA record. He's only averaging 3 yards a return this year, but remember last season he did all his damage in the second half, and that one is shanked by Rodwell. North Carolina with a 4-point lead. They'll have it at their own 35-yard line, only a 19-yard punt. Never had a losing season as a head coach. Last year, his Tar Heels started 1-5, but then finished the season 6-1, and UNC capped the year by winning its bowl game. Chris Francis in motion. Marquise Williams will keep it on first down, and he's across the 40-yard line. Tackled at the 42 by Tyler McCourties.
And a quarterback design run, running the power actually. The running back leads up inside to the opposite side, and Williams really has a knack. He's an efficient runner as a quarterback. Not only a viable runner from that position, but he's very efficient at getting every yard out of those plays.
Chris Francis into the game at tailback. Williams' quick release, and that is dropped by the tight end Jack Tabb. 3rd down.
That should have been a catch, obviously, by Tabb. Just a Y stick, they call it. Tabb goes down as the tight end, a prototypical tight end receiver at first down depth, and just doesn't convert.
Trips left. It's Hollins, Davis, and Switzer. Now Switzer in motion. Williams gets rid of it, finds Mac Hollins, and Hollins picks up a first down. Mac Hollins walked on to UNC last year as a true freshman. He was a special teams captain, and he came into this game leading the team in receiving yards.
And he's really their vertical threat, Anish. They like him getting deep. We've seen Switzer on a deep play already. That was a nice slant to Collins on that play, or Hollins on that play.
Here's Chris Francis, #1 running back from North Carolina in the class of 2013, and he's tackled by the Australian Adam Gotsis.
But I like the up-tempo once again. I think UNC is at their best offensively when they're going at a really high rate.
Williams, quarterback draw across midfield into Georgia Tech territory, and Marquise Williams with a first down. He's got 34 yards rushing here in the first half.
A great enhancement to that run game, and very well blocked. Caleb Peterson, number 70, from his left guard position, got up there to that second level, but Williams is a sneaky good runner.
Williams, the team's leading rusher and leading passer, floats this one over the middle. That's caught. And another first down for UNC, a gain of 21. It's TJ Thorpe, the junior from Durham.
When you run it successfully, you play action pass and throw behind those linebackers that are trying to get up and stop that run. That's very well done, but it's predicated on the run game working well to begin with.
Austin Prohl in the slot, top of your screen. Georgia Tech showing blitz. Bubble screen to Prohl. And he's driven out of bounds by DJ White. Marquise Williams last week was named the ACC Offensive Back of the Week for his performance against Notre Dame. Just the 4th player in conference history with 300+ yards passing and 100+ on the ground in the same game.
So you don't always have to go fast. Just the threat of going fast also has an effect on that defense.
Georgia Tech crowding the box. Here's Logan. TJ Logan gets maybe a yard, tackled by Demond Smith.
And that's UNC's zone stretch play where they really want to get it to the perimeter. Pretty well defended that time by Georgia Tech. You just have to stretch it to the sideline. When the back plants his foot and gets upfield, you have to have multiple hats there.
Williams flushed, throws near sideline, caught by Switzer, slips one tackle, and Switzer in for his second touchdown of the game.
Well, it starts with great protection up front. Look at Williams go through his progression. He literally went all the way from the right to the left and comes back to Switzer all the way on the edge. You can't do that without good protection, but nonetheless, that was really good decision-making by Williams.
The extra point by Weiler is good. Marquise Williams picking up where he left off last week. 12 out of 16, $174 through the air, and 3 touchdowns. Kevin Weidel from Scout Sync with us. Kevin, what have you seen with the way Marquise Williams is running this Carolina offense?
Well, ever since the interception, I think he's bounced back, and I think he's in a great rhythm right now. And what I was talking about with the poise, the ability to get through his progressions, Kelly hit on it, work through the entire field, come back. There's no panic in him, and that's the baseline you have to have as an NFL quarterback prospect. You got to be able to handle the pocket, you got to be tough, and you got to get through your progressions.
Yeah, and Kevin, you mentioned the word that I think is synonymous with Williams playing well. He has to be in the right rhythm. Most of us have to be, but he seems to be a guy that has to really get in the flow and the rhythm of the game.
He's throwing with great timing and anticipation right now. You can tell when a quarterback's in the zone.
You know, earlier in the season, Larry Fedora was rotating in his backup quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, and Fedora said he didn't think it affected Williams' rhythm. But last week, Trubisky wasn't part of that quarterback rotation, and Marquise Williams has his best game. We haven't seen Trubisky for a series today. He came in for one play when Williams had to come out after hitting his head against one of his linemen. But I think not having Trubisky come in for a series or two, that's helped Williams stay in rhythm.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you can do that. You can rotate quarterbacks in and those kind of things. But when you have a quarterback like Williams that's more of a has to see it well and a rhythm type of thrower, you have to let him play the game. And I think that's what they saw at Notre Dame a week ago, and Williams by far had his best game of the year.
Williams 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and caught a touchdown from Quinshon Davis in the loss to the Irish. Perkins in motion. Thomas fakes the toss. Steps up, throws downfield for Waller. Incomplete, a lot of contact, and no penalty. MJ Stewart, the freshman from Arlington, Virginia, on the coverage.
And that was great coverage because it's a mismatch physically. You can see Waller trying to use his size, 6'5", 240-plus pounds, but MJ Stewart, the true freshman, does a nice job of withstanding that physicality by the receiver, and I think he played it just right. Big receivers for Georgia Tech. Remember, they have to block the option on the perimeter, but they're great targets down the field.
Thomas saw the option. Here's Perkins. Perkins speeds across the 35, and he's to the 36, a gain of 11. A first down for the Ramblin' Wreck.
Rokeithus Otis getting outside from his bandit position, which is really a hybrid linebacker slash defensive end position, and you have to be able to defend the fullback, but then those interior defenders really have to chase well to the edge with the quarterback and then on out to the pitch. That's very difficult to do.
Georgia Tech still taking its time. They've got 2 timeouts as we come up on 2 minutes to play in the half. Thomas downfield, receiver open. It's Snoddy. He can fly, but Snoddy a little off balance and falls down at the 31.
Snoddy, the running back, is outside wide, and what you're going to have is there's no defender looking at the receiver that's going to arc release, and number 9 is the closest defender, Travis Hughes. That's tough to handle. but Snoddy just releases to the outside, and the defender has his eyes in the wrong place.
Yeah, that ball a little underthrown as well. Thomas, quarterback draw. Gets the outside, gets the first down, and scampers out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. It's a gain of 19 yards, and Georgia Tech in business.
And the quarterback draw with a former high school 100-meter champion looks pretty good. You can see it well. Thompson, there wasn't anything really well blocked at the point of attack, but it's the vision to the backside and the speed to get there.
Justin Thomas, 5 out of 9, 122 yards through the air. 29 yards on the ground. Thomas fakes the toss, steps up, under pressure, throws for the end zone. Touchdown, Tony Zenon. Well, you know, this Yellow Jacket offense can go quickly too. 5 plays, 75 yards, and a $125.
There was a lot of moving parts on that play. The fake toss, and they're actually trying to get Lasky out into the flat. And then it's improvising by the quarterback, and he finds Zenon in the end zone. But that route initially by Zenon was not figured into the play.
Butker on for the extra point. And he drills it. Tony Zenon's first receiving touchdown of the season.
And watch the fullback Lasky leak out into the flat up at the top right. That's where this play was designed to go. Very well defended, but kept alive by Justin Thomas, and finds Zenon coming from the backside. Good job of Thomas just keeping his eyes down the field and finding really the third receiver on that play.
Zenon, a young man with terrific speed. He grew up in New Orleans. His family was displaced by Hurricane Katrina. They resettled in Albany, Georgia. And earlier this season, Georgia Tech played at Tulane, which was a homecoming for Zenon. And he had his best game, 62 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Had about 40 family members in attendance, many of whom had never seen him play since he was a little boy.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And he gives them a little different dimension from that A-back position. That's what those tight wings are, kind of in that tight end type of area, but removed off the line of scrimmage. And Zenon is more of a kind of a scat back from that position, 5'8", 177, and you have some bigger backs to go along with him in Snoddy and Perkins.
I'll tell you what, Justin Thomas, too, he's not a big guy, about 5'11". He certainly has a big arm.
He really does. He throws it well, and Kara said that, very underrated as a passer.
Let's take a look back with our Buick Drive recap. A couple of big plays by Thomas. This one with his arm finds Broderick Snoddy, a Georgia Tech track star. Then Thomas using his feet, a 19-yard scamper, and then using his feet to extend the play and finding Tony Zenon for the touchdown.
Yeah, Paul Johnson really used the play-action passing game and the quarterback draw well on that play, but in the end, it was Justin Thomas's ability to keep the play alive that worked to finish that drive.
All right, for UNC, plenty of time here the way they run their offense. They go at warp speed, 3 timeouts, almost 90 seconds to go. That's plenty for them. Screen pass to Romar Morris. Gets a couple of blocks. Morris across the 30-yard line to the 32. Clock still running.
And Morris is that speed element. We have a late flag coming in here at the very end of that play, and Matt Hollins was definitely involved in the scrap deep in the secondary for Georgia Tech. Well after the play.
After the play, unsportsmanlike, number 13 of the offense, unsportsmanlike, number 8 of the defense. Those penalties will offset. The down counts, second down.
No harm, no foul apparently, but slap them both on the wrist. That's probably a good thing to do. Motions got out of hand a little bit, but the play still stands.
Mac Hollins and Chris Milton got into it. Only 2 penalties in this first half for North Carolina. That's progress from what we've seen over the last few weeks. On second down, Williams gets rid of it quickly. Ball pops loose. Switzer, who's got 2 touchdowns, unable to hold on.
And that's the receiving position that Seth Luttrell told us about, that Switzer just needs to learn how to play better. It's all about the ball. Get the ball before you turn to make yards after the catch. Remember, he's a return guy. He's an open field guy that's dynamic, but you have to catch the ball first.
On 3rd down, screen to Morris. Breaks the tackle, gets out of bounds, and gets a 1st down. DJ White had the angle but couldn't wrap him up.
And Morris is UNC's speed guy out of the backfield. He's tough to handle and make a miss and convert.
Morris, a former 100-meter champion in high school. He's been used more as a receiving back than a running back. And a flag.
False start, offense, number 14. 5 yards, 1st down.
That's Quinshot Davis, the wide receiver.
You talked about those penalties, and Coach Fedora does not like that, especially the pre-snap variety, which there's absolutely no reason for that.
Something else to remember here, North Carolina's kicker, Nick Weiler, his season long is 23. He only has 1 attempt of more than 23 yards. That was a 32-yarder, which he missed last week against Notre Dame. Williams steps up. He'll tuck it and run. Looking for the sideline, and he gets out of bounds. Give him 3 on the play.
And Williams was looking for a route concept over the middle to Ryan Switzer. It would have had a void in the middle of the field, about right at the 50-yard line, and Switzer comes out of his break and falls down, and left Williams with no option but to try to make something out of nothing.
On 2nd and 12, good protection, and the pass is incomplete. 3rd down coming up for UNC.
Georgia Tech defensively, in coverage in particular, are kind of a let's keep it in front of us type of team. Not a lot of pressure. When they do bring pressure, it's more of the zone blitz variety, but typically they want to keep the routes in front of them like they did on that play.
Both of these defenses really of the bend but don't break variety, although both have been broken plenty this season. Williams over the middle, that's caught. It's Switzer with the reception, and this is going to be an important spot. It looks like he might just be short. Clock continuing to run. UNC with 3 timeouts. And now they finally stopped the clock to measure.
Yeah, and the officials probably should have stopped the clock a little bit earlier, and that's what Fedora is talking about right there. You have to stop the clock to come and measure this, and that burned probably 6 seconds.
At least. Yeah, Larry Fedora with a legitimate gripe. And North Carolina is going to be short. All right, Kelly, what do you do here if you're Fedora?
I think you go for it right here. I think
with the lead.
Absolutely. I think they're going to need as many as they can get in the second half. So I would use a timeout, but I would go for it right here.
Clock starts on the whistle. And now North Carolina calls a timeout. You know, we just showed the replay there. You saw the clock and how much time had elapsed by the time the officials decided to go ahead and measure. It was about 5-6 seconds.
Yeah, and it's very valuable, obviously, with 29 seconds left in the half now. But I mean, Anish, I'm all for UNC just throwing down the gauntlet. Right now, I think that what do you have to lose? This is a decent area of the field. There's short time anyway. I think try to convert right here and show your team that you're going to do everything in its power to win this football game.
It may come down to this. You're still on the wrong side of the 50. Even though there's not a lot of time left, this is a North Carolina defense that has given up big plays.
Don't get queasy.
Georgia Tech has 2 timeouts. If you don't get it, do you trust your defense to hold the Yellow Jackets? That's the question.
That's a good question. I don't trust my defense coming into today, but they've actually played fairly well in this game. Williams is staying out there. And remember the hard camp. Williams is a veteran guy, so Georgia Tech is going to have to hold their water defensively.
Austin Prohl in motion. And there was the hard count, nearly got the Yellow Jackets. And Larry Fedora calls another timeout.
I certainly wouldn't expect UNC to go for it now. You don't burn one of those precious timeouts if you're going to turn around and go for it here. But that to me is a fence-setting call. I don't like the hard count. I think do the hard count initially and then line up and call a play and run it. That's what I like. I think they're going to punt the ball away now.
Now, I don't think you'll see it here in this situation, but North Carolina is known for its gadget plays.
I think Georgia Tech is probably going to be playing defensive safe, and
that's what they are. There's nobody back deep. And remember, Chris Milton, number 6 in white, lined up near side, right at the line of scrimmage. And now he's backing off. But Milton's a guy who has 5 blocked kicks since the start of last season. Tommy Hibbert on to punt it away, gets it off. And this one will take a Carolina bounce into the end zone. Georgia Tech will have it with 21 seconds at its own 20-yard line. The Jake, those two both could face elimination, in a lot of ways a must-win for them. Georgia Tech's going to take a shot. Thomas rolling out. Throws on the run, and Smeltzer unable to hang on to it. Georgia Tech will get the ball to start the second half.
And I think if you're UNC, especially defensively, you're elated at where you are going into half here. I think they played extremely well, maybe as well as they have all year.
You know, this is going to be a bend but don't break Carolina defense.
No doubt about it. They don't have any playmakers on the defensive line of scrimmage.
Georgia Tech will just call a run play, and that should take us to halftime. Carolina's defense in that first half, they did give up some yards, 279 of them. So they made a couple of big stops. They forced Georgia Tech to punt once. On 4th and 1, they were aided by a Yellow Jackets penalty that forced Georgia Tech to settle for a field goal instead of going for it. Let's go down to Cara.
After that early interception, 3 straight scoring drives for the Tar Heels offense. How can they sustain the momentum they created there?
Well, we just, when we're not doing it, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. It's things that we're doing against ourselves. We had a holding call. We threw the interception early. Then we started moving and started doing some good things. We just have to keep doing what we do. That's all. Everybody's got to do their job, and we'll be fine.
What about on defense? What adjustments do you want to see that unit make?
Well, we just got to get off the field. I mean, we're making some really good plays, and then we've given up a couple third and longs that we can't do.
Thanks, Coach. Anish?
North Carolina with its first halftime lead since week 1 against Liberty. Time now for the college football halftime report. And Brendan Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Anish.
After 30 minutes of play here at Kenan Stadium, Anish Schraub, Kelly Stauffer, Kara Capuano. Critical game in what's shaping up to be a wide open Coastal Division once again. If Georgia Tech can win, all of a sudden you can stay in that group of one-loss teams. North Carolina not out of it by any means, but if the Tar Heels were to lose this game, then all of a sudden you're not thinking about just winning this division. You're thinking about maybe just trying to get to a bowl game. So a big 30 minutes coming up for both these teams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In North Carolina, let's cut to the chase. They have to win this game, right? I mean, they have to. And Georgia Tech, like you said, the one-loss logjam at the top of the conference standings, they have to have this as well. So it'll be interesting. A lot to be decided in this next 30 minutes.
Paul Johnson's team in that first half, 279 total yards, 145 on the ground, 134 through the air. UNC will kick to start the second half. And Jamal Golden, who's averaging more than 30 yards per return, the deep man for the Yellow Jackets. And Golden won't have a chance. Nick Weiler's been very good about kicking it out of the end zone. Time now for the Taco Bell game track. Marquise Williams picking up where he left off against Notre Dame.
Yeah, he saw things really well in that first half, and it's his dual threat ability that really brings the more electricity to this offense, and then some shoddy tackling once in a while for Georgia Tech. But there's going to be more of this in the second half, no doubt about it. Justin Thomas knows what to do with it as well. Both of these quarterbacks, I felt, got into a nice flow and nice rhythm in that first half, and they saw things extremely well, which adds to the comfort level of both.
On first down, Thomas options. That's Charles Perkins, swims by a defender, and he's to the 32-yard line. It's a gain of 7.
I think this first drive is vitally important because of the issues that UNC has had defensively, Anish. I think to come out and play well early in this second half is important for UNC.
On second down, that's to the fullback Lasky, and it's going to bring up 3rd and a yard.
Second and medium to the fullback becomes 3rd and the wheelhouse for Georgia Tech offensively. That's the way they extend drives. They get into this 3rd and 1 or less and just move the chains and do it all over again. Very taxing on any defense.
Georgia Tech 59% on 3rd downs this season, best mark in the nation. And on 3rd and 1, there's Lasky picking up a first down, and we go down to Kara.
The penalty was ridiculous. That first half miscue in the red zone still on Paul Johnson's mind at halftime. But he said other than the penalty and the turnover, felt the offense moved the ball well. Very focused, guys, on taking back the momentum in this game and scoring on this first drive for the Yellow Jackets.
That penalty was Aaron Joe, the left tackle that Kara referred to. And if I was him, I'd still be hiding.
Yeah, he got an earful from Paul Johnson. Thomas steps back. Downfield, Smelter wide open. But Thomas a little off target.
Well, Anish, all kidding aside, Aaron Joe was in because Brian Chamberlain, 53, was injured. He's been in this game and he's in the game currently. But Aaron Joe is not in the game, and we'll see if he gets out of the doghouse here in the second half.
Yeah, Chamberlain did not play last week against Duke due to an ankle injury. Did start tonight. Thomas on the option. Cuts it back to the middle. And it appears he is picked up. A Yellow Jacket first down.
This is the triple option. Watch the fullback inside. You get hesitation out of the defensive end, number 8, Otis, and then the quarterback takes it to the edge. And in this case, nobody takes the quarterback, so it was a pretty easy decision. Just get as much green grass as you can.
Thomas has gone over the 600-yard mark in rushing in this game. That's for the season, of course. Thomas, that time with nowhere to go, and he falls back at the 45-yard line, a loss of 2. Justin Thomason, part of the ambush.
And this is the change-up defensively, as you have the defensive end steps inside, which leads the big defensive tackle actually angling out, and he catches the quarterback Thomas by surprise. So that's the adjustment that a defense has to make. It isn't always the defensive end that has the fullback, or vice versa. In that case, the defensive end and defensive tackle actually switched assignments.
Hill in motion. Thomas to throw. Wants Waller, who makes the catch, and he's gone. Touchdown, Georgia Tech, 55 yards. Thomas to Darren Waller.
Yeah, Sam Smiley is the safety that just takes a horrific angle. If you're going to make a play on the ball, you can see number 3, Sam Smiley, coming over. you have to get to the football. You have to make that decision, or you just cover the receiver, and Smiley did neither in this particular case. Mistime the jump, bad angle, results in a huge play with Waller taking it into the end zone.
Second touchdown of the season for Waller. Harrison Butker's extra point is good. And the seesaw game continues. Paul Johnson wanted to score on the first drive of the second half. He got it in a big way. Thomas to Waller, 55. Comments that Duke head coach David Cutcliffe made. Cutcliffe said, if you're a receiver, why would you want to go to Georgia Tech? But Paul Johnson has told us his pitch to wide receivers is, listen, if you come to Georgia Tech, you're not going to catch 80 balls a year. You might catch 30, but you might average about 25 yards a catch, and you'll have a chance to make some big plays.
Yeah, and about a third of them might be touchdowns. You're exactly right. And you can see in the season that Waller is definitely a big play guy, almost 23 yards a pop and a couple of touchdowns, but that was just misplayed in the secondary by UNC, and that's the type of play that UNC has been giving up most of the year that's driving Vic Koenning, the defensive play caller, absolutely bonkers. You have guys in the right place, they just don't execute what they're told to do.
4 of Georgia Tech's 7 completed passes have gone for at least 25 yards. A touchback, UNC will start from its own 25. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, Sam Smiley is the safety that's deep, and watch Brian Walker right there. He is looking into the backfield, and he should be impeding the progress of Waller because there isn't any hesitation or impediment by Waller. It's a difficult play to make by Smiley anyway, and then it's a bad angle and a bad play on the ball, and the result is big play, Georgia Tech. Smiley, the safety, needed help. Brian Walker, the rolled up corner, to impede that receiver, and he got no help at all.
Zone read, Marquise Williams. And he just gets a yard. We've got Kevin Weidel, our NFL draft analyst, in the booth with us. Kevin, Georgia Tech certainly has a pretty good track record of producing NFL wide receivers.
Calvin Johnson, Demaryius Thomas. The big thing with those two receivers, Waller and Smelter, pre-draft process, combine, all-star game, going to have to show they can run the complete route tree.
Williams rolling out, finds Quinshad Davis, fighting for extra yards, and then finally taken down by Milton and Isaiah Johnson. Well, you mentioned Megatron and Demaryius Thomas. Those guys have put up monster numbers in recent seasons. Quick screen, it's Prohl, tackled by Demond Smith. Yeah, those two are pretty good.
They're pretty good, and they're pretty big. And Georgia Tech's receivers they have here are pretty big as well. 6'4", 240 plus in a couple of situations.
North Carolina's got big receivers as well. That time they keep it on the ground. And Romar Morris with a gain of 10. Tackled by Paul Davis, Georgia Tech's leading tackler.
And that's quintessential UNC. They like the quarterback zone read scheme. Good example of it there.
There's Quinshad Davis. We talk about the big Carolina receivers. Davis, 6'4". He's 215. Bug Howard, 6'4" as well.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with big receivers. I don't mind those guys at all. In Georgia Tech's case, they have to block out on the perimeter a lot for that option game, so they're almost like tight ends in wide receiver type positions.
The screen to Logan, a little stutter step, and then he's run out of bounds by Jamal Golden.
With Elijah Hood out of the game because of an injury, we've seen TJ Logan bring a little bit of spark to this run game and the control pass game like on that one, and then Romar Morris is more of the speed back. So the combination of those two guys has worked well along with Williams in that run game.
Here's the pressure. Williams gets rid of it, and that's Switzer again. And he's got a UNC first down, tackled by Jamal Golden. Marquise Williams, 20 out of 26.
That's called rhythm, and that throw was on time and on rhythm. And Ryan Switzer needs to live in that particular situation. This is a good speed cut. The quarterback can throw it on rhythm, a little bounce step, and he threw it right on the money. But Ryan Switzer, becoming a wide receiver, ran a really nice route for the quarterback, Williams.
Off play action, Williams all day, checks down. Morris breaks a couple of tackles and then spun out of bounds by Keyshawn Freeman.
But you can feel the rhythm of this offense, right? And that's what we talked about really at the top. Not only is your quarterback a rhythm thrower, but this scheme is a rhythm offense. And they like to go up-tempo, but in order to go up-tempo, you really have to sustain drives.
7 straight completions now for Marquise Williams.
When he sees it well, he's comfortable, and his accuracy goes way up.
Zone read, this is Logan. Around the edge, vicious stiff arm on Davis. And Logan and Davis have a few words at the end of the play.
And Freeman, the defensive end, he's a true freshman, and he was really kind of caught in no man's land because of the long-held mesh right there. What is Freeman going to do, number 42, the defensive end? He doesn't know who has the football until way late. Show of pressure right here. Usually an early show, they back out of that.
There's the screen, Logan again, inside the 20, and TJ Logan making the defenders pay the price.
What Seth Luttrell told us, he's the offensive play caller for UNC, that running backs have to start making their own way more than they have. Get something on your own, and that's a good example of it by Logan.
Logan, a big-time recruit coming out of high school, one of the top players in the state, as Williams will tuck it and run. Williams with a seam, and a touchdown for North Carolina.
Landon Turner, 78, has a really good block. Watch him pancake him right there in the middle of your screen. That's a big body on a big body, but how about the awareness of number 12? That's all good stuff.
The extra point by Weiler is good. North Carolina back on top, and for Marquise Williams, he has now tied a school record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. That was his 13th career rushing touchdown, now tied with Ronald Curry for most in school history. Continues to swing from one side to the other. Georgia Tech scored on its opening drive of the second half. North Carolina answered with a touchdown of their own. And Marquise Williams on that drive, 7 for 7, and he ran for the go-ahead score.
Yeah, and the best part of that might have been that run, because he had Quinshaw Davis outside and wasn't quite sure, or at least wasn't on the same page as Davis, and so Williams makes a great play with his feet.
Third lead change of the night.
There's no defense against what Williams ended up doing to score that touchdown.
Here's Golden, and he won't run this one out. This game feels like whoever has the ball last is going to win this, and it just has that kind of feel to it.
What was that score a couple of years ago that we talked about?
68-50.
We'll have to hurry to get there, but it's going to be a lot of answering. There's no doubt about that. And the way these offenses started the second half, both of them are rhythm-type offenses, getting to it schematically completely different ends of the universe, but playing really well.
That was the last time these two played here. They played last year in Atlanta. Georgia Tech won 28-20, but that was the highest scoring game in the history of ACC football. Thomas options to his right. The pitch to Tony Zenon, who's got a receiving touchdown today. And he's trapped after a gain of 2. Des Lawrence, the team's leading tackler, along with Travis Hughes on the stop.
Defensive end once again jumping down inside is Rashad from that bandit position, and forces a really quick decision by the quarterback to get to the edge, but that's really well done by UNC defensively.
Thomas options to the left. There's the pitch. Nothing doing there. Brian Walker devours Snoddy in the backfield, and it's going to be 3rd down and long.
Brian Walker out from his corner position, fights through the block. And look at the bubble. When you get the quarterback bubbled off the line of scrimmage, then your support from inside out can get there. But that was a tremendous play for Brian Walker. Beat the block and then make the tackle for a loss. 3rd and 10 once again. UNC can live here defensively.
Here's the blitz. Thomas in trouble. He's got to get rid of it, and it's incomplete.
As they should do, the referee is behind the play looking at the official that's in the territory. And if there's an eligible receiver near that ball, which Deion Hill really was, he was running an over route from the opposite side. He was coming there. He wasn't close to it, but close enough to avoid an intentional grounding.
North Carolina looks like they're in punt block here. Ryan Switzer waiting at his own 37, 5 punt return touchdowns last season. And Switzer signals for a fair catch, and he makes it at the 34-yard line. A 42-yard punt, no return. North Carolina with the lead and the ball. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and North Carolina doing its part. You see the line at the 20-yard line, also pink trim on the Carolina lettering in the end zone. Tar Heels supporting a wonderful cause here in the month of October. TJ Logan. He charges ahead, and right now Logan is seeking contact.
That's exactly what Seth Luttrell wanted to see out of those running backs. He said, you know, you can't always block every one of them, so there has to be yards after contact and some creativity out of that running back position.
This is Logan again, a little shake and bake, and he's to midfield, a gain of 8 yards. TJ Logan, 67 rushing yards tonight already, a season high.
And the run game is still on the table for UNC because they still have the lead. It's a very similar template to what they did with Notre Dame a week ago. They couldn't finish at Notre Dame. We'll see if they can get it done here.
Low snap. Williams gets Logan on the screen. He's tackled by Paul Davis after a gain of 3.
That was actually very well set up. If Paul Davis doesn't chase that down, that's going down the sideline.
You know, one thing we haven't touched on in great detail today, North Carolina healthier on that offensive line. Heck and Landon Turner, who usually play on that right side, they've made a big difference.
They really have, and a different comfort level for Williams at the quarterback position.
Here's Chris Francis, the sophomore from Durham. Gets out to the 45-yard line, tackled by Isaiah Johnson, the senior safety.
And when you get your big daddies up front, Back and Heck and Turner, those are the guys that make it go. They've been playing on the right side together, but right now Landon Turner isn't over there. But getting those guys back makes this offensive line something they were not consistently in the first half of the season.
UNC 5 out of 8 on 3rd downs. Williams has some room to run, and he's out of bounds at the 39-yard line. He moves the chains for the Tar Heels.
So many defensive schemes account for everything except a quarterback that can make plays with his feet. And that's why we see the points we do in college football today, is because most offensive schemes are based around this guy making plays outside the pocket.
Here's Jack Tabb, the tight end. And Tabb down inside the 30-yard line. He's going to be close to another first down, and it looks like he's going to get it.
When's the last time that Williams missed a pass?
He's completed 11 in a row.
I think they call that rhythm. Being in the zone as a quarterback is a great feeling, and right now he isn't even hesitating. Comfort level increases accuracy, and that's what you see out of Williams currently.
That last play, good enough for a first down. Here's Morris. Cuts back over the middle, met by a swarm of Yellow Jackets after a gain of 4. Tyler Marcordes led the charge. 2nd and 6. You talk about possessions in this game. Larry Fedora said against Georgia Tech, you usually only expect 9. I believe this is North Carolina's 8th of the game, so UNC has been able to control tempo so far.
Yeah, that's a great point.
On the ground once more, and Morris has another North Carolina first down. Right now, this Georgia Tech defense has no answer.
Yeah, they're getting a good fit up front is UNC, and you can see right there the big guys are working hard. Center Lucas Crowley was all over the defensive lineman there, and we talked about Heck and Turner, but the play before Ferranto was also getting a nice block.
And it looks like they are going to measure. Let's bring in Kevin Weidel, our NFL draft analyst. What are you seeing up front out of UNC?
Well, I'm seeing better protection, and it goes to the quarterback, Williams, to me. When you have a dual-threat guy, you know, there's a fine line between knowing when to be a playmaker and use your feet and playing within the structure of the system. And I think Williams has done a great job of deciphering that throughout the entire night.
You know, Kevin, the offensive linemen want to know, are we throwing it or are we passing or are we running it? And with the dual-threat guys, sometimes you don't know that. And this line is playing much better because I think you're exactly right. They have a good feel for what Williams wants to do.
Kelly, you and I saw this team against Clemson last month where North Carolina, because of injuries, was starting 5 underclassmen on its offensive line. You get Turner back, you get Heck back. That makes a big difference. Turner's not a freshman, by the way. He's a junior.
Turner and Heck back makes a confident quarterback coming back as well in Williams.
Off play action. Near side, Chris Francis hauls it in. And that's good for about 2. 2nd and 8. The officials measured that previous spot. Good enough for a first down. Again, Elijah Hood not playing tonight. He was doubtful on the injury report. The coaches told us yesterday he's out with a knee injury. Toss to Morris. Gets a block on that right side, and Romar Morris run out of bounds at the 4-yard line. 1st and goal, UNC.
Power football at its finest. Guard's going to pull. Running back's going to get out there as well, and then it's the quick toss, relocating one offensive lineman, one running back to the point of attack. They've run it well between the tackle box. Now they're getting to the perimeter also.
And already over their season average in terms of running the football. Here's Morris, and he plunges into the end zone for 6. Plays 66 yards, and that drive felt almost like a Georgia Tech drive in some ways.
And Morris has trouble hanging on to this ball. Very fortunate that there wasn't quick penetration because he didn't have that ball until he was about 2 yards into that route or that run.
High snap, the kick is up. Weiler's extra point true, and UNC with a 2-score lead with 2:41 to go in the 3rd quarter. And positive signs for the Tar Heels offense. They've shown the ability to get some mileage out of their running backs finally.
Yeah, hang that on the offensive line and also running backs that are making their own way, creating something out of nothing at times.
Great at his position.
He will only get better with Clowney in there. I mean, when they're both on the field together, they will enhance each other's play.
Kelly, Georgia Tech needs a counterpunch here. This is a team, we've seen them score quickly, and it's a little bit of a myth that if you get up on them, they can't come back. They can still burn you with big plays on the ground, certainly in the passing game, but this is not their comfort zone, being down 2 scores late in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, it's exactly where they don't want to be with that option offense, but you're right. Still plenty of time, plenty early to keep that option offense alive and well.
Here's Golden. He finally gets a chance, and he's tripped up across the 15-yard line. North Carolina has been outstanding this season on kick coverage. Both teams have run for 165 yards so far. North Carolina with an advantage in the passing game, although Georgia Tech has hit on some big plays through the air. The Yellow Jackets have only thrown it 14 times. 3rd downs, Georgia Tech is usually about 60%, at 50 so far today.
A lot of good things, and that recipe right there, I think North Carolina can win games with those type of numbers.
St. John Days in motion. He gets it on the pitch. Days charges ahead across the 20 to the 23-yard line. It's a gain of 6.
Ball carried by number 10, St. John Days.
Georgia Tech has watched as North Carolina has scored on 5 of its last 6 possessions. Both teams had an early turnover, none since. On 2nd down and 4, Thomas options to Broderick Snoddy, and the track star Snoddy picks up a 1st down. He's across the 30-yard line.
And even though Georgia Tech doesn't go fast, Anish, they too are a rhythm offense. The option game, whether it be a double option or the triple option, is all about rhythm. Rhythm of the offensive line in conjunction with whoever the running backs are that are carrying the football. Right now, they're in pretty good rhythm.
Snoddy in motion. It's Snoddy on the toss, gets a block from Perkins, and Snoddy scampers out of bounds along that far sideline. It's a gain of 8.
Every time you see the ball go to the perimeter like you did right there with Snoddy, defensive linemen for UNC have to run that play down. And in the 4th quarter against schemes like Georgia Tech, UNC's defense can easily get worn out.
Here's Zenon. He gets a block. Zenon dives ahead for a 1st down. The Yellow Jackets continue to move the chains, gain of 7. To your point, Kelly, the defensive staff for North Carolina told us fatigue has been a problem late in games.
Exactly.
This is a UNC offense that will sometimes run 80, 90 plays per game. And there's been times when North Carolina, you go back to the ECU game, they were on the field for almost 100 plays. They get worn down. They don't have the depth. Thomas flips it to Zenon on the option. And it's Zenon to the 46-yard line. Give him 5. Malik Simmons on the stop.
And that was the triple option that went to the perimeter, but those previous 2 plays that Paul Johnson called were quick tosses to the outside, and that's to make that interior defense for UNC pursue the football outside, because you're right, there's not a lot of depth on that defensive line of scrimmage, and they get worn out, along with Jeff Schottmer gets worn down as well from that linebacker position.
And Georgia Tech will not get a play off before the end of the 3rd quarter. We have been witness to 800 yards of total offense through 45 minutes. The final 15 in regulation after the break. To shake up that playoff Polaroid if they can knock off Florida State. On 2nd down, Justin Thomas downfield. He's got Smelter, makes the catch. Smelter with a lane to the end zone, and Georgia Tech strikes on the 1st play of the 4th quarter.
When your eyes get in the wrong place against the triple option, this is exactly what happens. The secondary is looking into the backfield, the play action fake pitch, and then that's where the big-bodied Smelter comes into play. 6'3", 222, goes up and fights for that football, and that's what taxes a defense. They make you play sound assignment football, play in and play out, and North Carolina did not execute well on that one.
Butker's point after is good. A 46-yard strike from Justin Thomas to the former Georgia Tech baseball player, DeAndre Smelter. That's a home run for the Yellow Jackets. Came to Georgia Tech as a baseball player, had to give up baseball. He was a pitcher, had shoulder injuries. His 2nd year on the football team, he's been terrific for Paul Johnson and the Jackets.
Defending the option is about keeping your eyes right. out of the two safeties. You can see those guys step up, and then Smelter's just going to get in behind them. Just that little hesitation in the step up by number 7, Tim Scott, creates enough room, and then the help isn't there over the top.
Onside kick by Georgia Tech. A field judge looked to have signaled that North Carolina had it. Now they're trying to sort through the scrum. Georgia Tech saying they have it, but North Carolina recovered the onside kick. So the Yellow Jackets tried to catch everybody sleeping.
And it was pretty well executed. It has to go 10 yards before the kicking team can touch it, and it went plenty. It went about 14, and I think the best opportunity to catch that ball was the kicker himself in Butker, and he couldn't quite corral it. Well executed, just didn't finish it very well in the end.
Jeff Schottmer, the middle linebacker, who also plays on special teams, recovered the kick. And now North Carolina working with a short field. Romar Morris on first down, and he's wrestled down by Adam Gotsis, the lone returning starter on this Yellow Jacket D-line.
Paul Johnson really has to trust his defense in a situation like this. They have the momentum to go with the onside kick. When this is the downside, you give a really, really hot offense right now, UNC, the short field to work with.
On second down, Williams throws far side. That's caught. And Quinshad Davis tackled by DJ White. They get Bug Howard on the reception.
I believe that's the 13th straight pass completed to 10 different receivers. I mean, that is the flow that the quarterback needs to be in, and Williams is chief among them. Most of us that have thrown the ball like to be in rhythm and in the flow of the game, and Williams resembles that currently.
UNC 6 out of 9 on third down. Williams will keep it on the zone read, and he's to the 40-yard line, a first down for Carolina. UNC has been unstoppable. 5 of the last 6 possessions have resulted in a touchdown. Here's a screen pass to Switzer. That's the 8th catch of the game for Switzer, matching a career high. He already has a career high 126 yards receiving.
TJ Thorpe was the lead blocker out wide, did a tremendous job of sealing his defender out on the edge, and then Switzer cuts it up inside. That's exactly the way that play is supposed to work.
Out of a 4 wide look, here's the blitz. Williams over the middle, and he threw it behind his receiver, TJ Thorpe, who wanted a flag, but doesn't get the call.
Defended by DJ White really well from his corner position, and Thorpe ran a really peculiar route. He ran kind of a skinny post, but he was going about 3/4 speed. I don't exactly know what he was looking at.
And that ended a streak of 14 straight completions as Romar Morris checks in on third down and 5. Here's the blitz. Williams tries to get loose. Paul Davis slowed him up, and Georgia Tech forces a 4th down.
Georgia Tech is not a big zero blitz team, which this is, which simply means you have man-to-man coverage across the board on the back end. High risk, but in this case, a huge reward.
It looks like they're going to go for it. You're kind of in no man's land here from the 36. Tech showing blitz again. Now Johnson backs off the line. Play clock to 10. Here comes Johnson on the safety blitz. Williams going deep for Hollins. Hollins makes the catch for a Carolina touchdown.
That was the same defensive call by Ted Roof right there, the zero blitz. You talked about Isaiah Johnson coming up the middle. Throw it to your 6'3" receiver and let him climb up and get it. Williams knows exactly what he has if he has the time to execute. Watch the pressure up inside. Williams does a nice job of getting the ball off. And then Holland, 6'3". Climb and get it, big fella. That's good stuff right there.
Can make a run in the second half. Marquise Williams could inject himself into the ACC Player of the Year conversation. He has been sensational in the last 2 games.
Yeah, the way he played against Notre Dame, and he's picked up where he left off, and it's all about his feel of the game. When he sees it well early, he's very comfortable, and he makes a lot of plays with his feet, which translates well to the pass game also.
4 touchdown passes for Williams. He's run for another as North Carolina has an 11-point lead. Golden took a kickback against the Heels 2 years ago on this field, but he falls short of the 30-yard line.
Well, Ted Roof, the defensive play caller for Georgia Tech, gambles, brings all-out pressure. You can see the safety, Johnson, number 1. But it's about biding enough time and getting the throw off. And how about the high pointing by the 6'3" receiver? Go up, climb the ladder, catch the ball on 28, DJ White, who's 5'11", so you out-rebound him by about 4 inches and you finish the play. That ball was well thrown. You have to give your guy a chance to go up and get it at the rim, and that's what Williams did with Hollins.
What a story Hollins is, a kid who had 0 scholarship offers coming out of high school. Thomas under pressure, and he's hit from behind, and he somehow hung on to the ball. DeJuan Drenner with the sack for UNC.
Drennan comes from the backside, and Justin Thomas is very lucky he hung on to this. Very good coverage on the back end in the play action by Georgia Tech, which sometimes is very difficult to defend because they get your eyes wrong, and then Drennan from the backside pursues him and knocks him down.
Thomas on the option. Here's Snoddy. Broderick Snoddy finally tackled by Tim Scott, but not before Snoddy gets to the 42-yard line, a gain of 16.
And Anish, that's why Paul Johnson can gamble with the play action on first downs. It leaves you second and long, but they're a really good second and long run team to either convert or get in third and manageable.
You know, I was going back to the onside kick.
That's a great point.
Right now, I don't think Georgia Tech has any confidence in its defense. That's why they went for the onside kick.
I think you're exactly right. That would be the only reason to do it right there in that situation.
UNC was showing blitz with Schottmer. There's Thomas on the option. It's juggled, and there's Drennan again to drop St. John Days back at the 36.
Anish, you talked about it. Schottmer is coming off the edge right here. And he does come, and he forces a quick decision by the quarterback, Thomas. And then there's good coverage outside by Drennan. That's textbook of how you defend the option. Stuff the quarterback, make him make a very quick decision, and then rally to the pitch.
Drennan, the first freshman to start at DN for UNC since 2010. Kareem Martin. On second and long, there's the option again. It's St. John Days, and he burrows ahead toward midfield for a nice run, a gain of 15, third and short.
There we see it again. The negative play on first down creates second and long, but it's not a panic situation for Georgia Tech and play caller head coach Paul Johnson. They're a very lethal team in that third and long, or second and long run situation for them.
On third and short, Thomas again on the option. Again the pitch, and a first down for Georgia Tech. Charles Perkins on the run. Georgia Tech driving down 11. Both defenses have struggled to stop the other, but North Carolina has a 2-possession lead. Here's Thomas with time over the middle, and That time he threw it behind Darren Waller, who already has a touchdown reception in this game.
And in this second half, UNC has done a better job of defending the play action pass off of that run look. You have to sell out to the run, but then you rally out into coverage on the play action. UNC doing a nice job here in the second half. You have to wonder as we get deep into this fourth quarter is how much gas does UNC have in the defensive tank? They've had a tendency to get worn down late in games.
On second down, Thomas fakes the pitch, keeps it, tripped up by Schottmer at the 35-yard line, and it's 3rd down and 5, and this is almost assuredly 4-down territory for Paul Johnson.
And it really smells like Latchkey, the fullback territory as well. We haven't seen him on this drive, and that's about the time Paul Johnson likes to dial up 37 Latchkey inside from that fullback position.
UNC with that rabbit package. There's the toss to Zenin across the 30. 1st down and more. Zenin drags Tim Scott all the way to the 14-yard line. A gain of 21 yards.
What UNC is doing defensively is they're walking their linebackers up into the A gaps to try to take that fullback away. That's why there's room out on the perimeter and that quarterback to the edge and then out to the perimeter in that pitch game.
Georgia Tech 260 yards on the ground today. They average about 295. Up the middle, there's Lasky, the fullback, churning for yards, and he's into the end zone.
It's like a game of hide and seek. This is the first time we've seen Lasky in a while, and Paul Johnson hopes that UNC defense has forgotten about 37, and then you gash them right down Main Street.
Now we saw a lot of those option runs to the outside, and then Lasky up the middle, and it appears Georgia Tech is going to try to go for 2.
Down by 5 after that touchdown. I think this is a very good call. Going down by 4, kicking an extra point doesn't do you any good.
Thomas on the option. He'll try to keep it. And he's stopped by North Carolina. Des Lawrence turned him back.
Number 11, Malik Simmons, and number 2, Des Lawrence on the stop.
One of these defenses is going to have to come up with a stop. A 5-point game. Still plenty of time left in Chapel Hill. The last time Georgia Tech and North Carolina played in Chapel Hill, Tech won 68-50 in what was the highest scoring game in ACC history. I'm not sure if the scores are going to get to that level, but this has been a fun one. 2 offenses going back and forth. And Justin Thomas, on that last 2-point conversion attempt, looked like may have dinged his hand a little bit. There's TJ Thorpe. Thorpe dropped shy of the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Brendan Fitzgerald in the studio.
Thanks, Anisha.
And then 2 former Florida transfers having pretty good seasons in the ACC. Jacoby Brissett at NC State, Tyler Murphy at BC. UNC has scored on 6 of its last 7 possessions. TJ Logan to the outside. And he's tackled across the 20 at the 22. Give him 4. Kelly, does North Carolina still go at warp speed? Still 7 minutes plus to go. Or do they pull back now with a 5-point lead?
Yeah, I think they tapped the brakes just a little bit. I think you will see more time coming off the clock, although they're going in a hurry on this one.
No, not there. Screen pass to Prohl. Prohl springs to the outside, and he's tackled hard out of bounds by Johnson. It's a gain of 8. It's a first down for UNC.
Well, at the very least, the youngster Prohl needs to stay in bounds. They can keep the clock running that way after they stop it to move the chains.
Here's Logan up the middle. Logan with a season-high 73 yards, a gain of 3.
I think this is where an up-tempo offense has to have a change of pace. You can present up-tempo on the line of scrimmage, but then back away when you get the look that you've seen the look that you want, and just let time tick off the clock.
Screen pass, that's caught. Some space, and Logan bumped out of bounds by DJ White, but he gets close to midfield.
Sometimes offenses that go fast are simply better when they go fast, so it's hard to change the pace. A good catch by Logan and a good block out on the point by Tabb.
This Georgia Tech defense right now reeling. They cannot find an answer. Williams trying to use the stiff arm, but it's the true freshman, Keyshawn Freeman, who drops him for a loss of a yard.
A lot of times on the defensive side, you're looking for that one play that puts the offense off schedule. And that was it right there. We'll see if Georgia Tech can make that funnel to a way to get off the field right here.
On 2nd and 11, screen pass, and Morris drops it. And now a critical 3rd and 11 coming up.
Gaddis, even though it's a screen, Gaddis, number 96, got some good quick pressure and enforced an errant throw. You can't throw the ball off target and off the body to to running backs or tight ends, and that wasn't a very good screen pass because of the pressure by Gaddis.
Seems to be some confusion on the Georgia Tech side.
I think they were going to go with pressure early, and they checked out of it.
4-man rush. Williams over the middle. That's caught by Morris, and he's tackled about 5 yards shy of the first down marker. So 4th down. Remember, on UNC's last drive, on 4th and about 5, North Carolina hit a big touchdown pass.
Yeah, and this is a slightly different, not only situation in the game, but also place on the field. I think you try to pin Georgia Tech deep right here with a punt and make them go the long field.
So that means North Carolina will have to rely on its defense. Tommy Hibbert gets it off. Fair catch, Jamal Golden. He'll make it at the 13-yard line. 5:24 to go in regulation. Georgia Tech down 5 and with the ball. Comes out for this Georgia Tech drive on a 2-point conversion on Tech's last drive. Thomas was seen holding his hand on the sideline afterwards. And remember, he suffered an ankle injury against Duke last week. Let's check in with Kara down on the field.
Well, guys, the training staff did evaluate that hand for a good amount of time, but as you see, he's back out there and ready to go.
Tim Byerly is the backup. He played in the 4th quarter last week. Thomas the pitch on 1st down. Stiff arm by Perkins, and he's out of bounds at the 21. A gain of 9 on 1st down. Georgia Tech down by 5, coming up on 5 minutes to play in regulation.
Sam Smiley, number 3, the safety, was in on that tackle, and that's exactly the way Georgia Tech will target defenders in the play-action passing game. Look for that coming up.
Shannon in motion. Hand off to the fullback, Lasky, and he gets 2 for a 1st down. You know, a play that happened early in this game that if Georgia Tech loses, Paul Johnson will remember. It was a 4th down and 1, and watch the right tackle there, Aaron Joe. He flinches. It negated a Georgia Tech touchdown. Paul Johnson let his linemen have it. The Yellow Jackets had to settle for a field goal instead. If they get that touchdown, they probably don't go for 2. Could be a tie game right now. On the toss, St. John Days bowls over a defender, and he gets close to the 30.
So mentioned Tim Scott right there, and a couple plays ago was Sam Smiley getting in on those tackles, running that alley, and that's exactly where the Georgia Tech will play action pass, targeting those safeties that take their eyes off of the backfield and forget to cover down the field.
Perkins and Snoddy, the A-backs, Lasky, the B-back. And it's a give to Lasky up the middle. Drags a defender with him to the 40-yard line. Give him 11. Ethan Farmer on the stop, and Lasky is down.
Lasky was grabbing his right shoulder. That does not look good. Lasky is the bell cow of this offense. Establish him, and then everything else works from that player outward. It looks like he might fall on that right shoulder at the end. That's a difficult position for a ball carrier, quarterback or otherwise. You feel like you're in the death roll when a defender has you like that, and typically as a ball carrier you can turn just a little bit and keep the head of your shoulder out of the ground, and Lasky could not do it on that play.
Matt Connors is the backup fullback. Sometimes you see St. John Days back there as well. But Lasky's a guy who is the team's top returning rusher, second leading rusher behind quarterback Justin Thomas. It would be a big loss for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, and I would expect to see Days there. He's a bigger back, has more experience, and Connors, even though he's officially the backup fullback, he only has one carry in the entire season.
While the trainers attend to Lasky, we bring you our championship drive update brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Notre Dame and Zach Lasky walks off the field, and you hope the senior will be okay. Matt Connors into the game at B-back, Lasky's old position right behind the QB. Snoddy in motion. And Snoddy on the toss. The defender falls down, and Snoddy cuts it back across the 45 to the 47. There's a flag back at the 39.
Charles Perkins, number 21, is going to get called with a penalty out on the point of attack.
Personal foul, flipping on the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That is a killer.
Yeah, Perkins out on the edge. I think he was actually blocking number 28, Brian Walker. Walker did a very good job of getting across the line of scrimmage. And 21 right there is throwing down at the knees, but it's behind right there. Initially it looked okay, but then Walker did a good job of kind of turning away from the block, and Perkins ended up on the backside of Walker.
So now it's 1st and 25 for an option offense. Georgia Tech has hit some plays in the passing game. 235 yards on just 8 completions. Thomas, the option. Smelter on the reverse. He gets a block from Waller, and DeAndre Smelter springs free down the sideline. Smelter gives Georgia Tech the lead.
The fans can't believe it either, but to defend the option, you have to be assignment sound. And Smelter started out wide right, takes the pitch, and he has a convoy out in front of him. That was very well set up and very well executed, and Smelter can take it to the house. Great design and a great time of an over-pursuing UNC defense to get caught out of position.
Georgia Tech will go for 2 to try to make it a 3-point game.
Remember, this isn't the starting fullback in there anymore, Lasky, so you'd expect the ball to go to the perimeter.
Smelter in motion. Thomas throws it up, broken up by Lawrence. And North Carolina will get the ball with 3:07 to go in regulation. And a field goal can potentially win it for the Tar Heels.
You have to get lathered up defensively to stop the run, and that's exactly what you see. All of those blue shirts pursuing the quarterback, you get him out of position, and then look at the convoy. That's about 1,000 pounds down the field leading Smelter. Very well to block. Half of those big uglies down the field didn't even have anyone to block. It was so well designed, and you don't like to see that. Lasky going into the tunnel right there, holding that tender right shoulder.
Well, North Carolina's defense could not stop Georgia Tech. Now it's on Georgia Tech to stop North Carolina, and the Yellow Jackets did it on the last drive. But North Carolina has scored a touchdown on 6 of its last 8 possessions. And UNC just needs a field goal. All 3 timeouts for the Tar Heels, 3:07 to go in regulation. And UNC will get it at its own 25-yard line. What did I tell you early in the third quarter? Whoever has the ball last.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said, and that might be exactly what we see tonight. And we talked about Marquise Williams at the top of this game, and it's going to come down to him right now. Fedora is counting on number 12 getting loose. And Anish, how many times have we talked about the rhythm of this young man? He's seen it clearly down the field in the pass game, going from one side of the field to the other. Impromptu plays, keeping plays extended with his feet. And then right here, there's no defense for that.
He's accounted for 5 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 4 through the air. Williams, quarterback draw on first down, and Marquise Williams picks up about 9. It'll bring up second down and 1. Williams 32 out of 40. With 1 more completion, he would tie the school record by most completions in a game by a UNC quarterback. Romar Morris dropped back at the 30-yard line. Sean Green, the defensive tackle from Grayson, Georgia, made the stop, and it's 3rd down. And Morris limps off the field. Chris Francis in at running back on a big 3rd and 4. Georgia Tech bringing the pressure. Williams throws it downfield. It's caught by Jack Tabb. He made the catch in front of Jamal Golden at the 45. It's a UNC first down.
Tabb's just going to the corner, and this is an average throw, but a tremendous above-average catch. That was about going and snatching the football with big hands, and Jack Tabb did just that.
And Williams has tied the school record for single-game completions. 4-man rush. Williams checks down to Francis, makes 1-man miss into Georgia Tech territory, and he's going to be very close to a first down.
And whether it's a first down or not, Francis has to get out of bounds. It's about clock management right now. There wasn't a lot of yards left up inside. You have to step out of bounds.
2nd and 1, UNC with all 3 timeouts. Hollins dropped it on the screen, and that stops the clock with 90 seconds left in regulation. Something to remember, North Carolina's kicker, Nick Weiler, yes, he's 5 of 6 on the season. His long is just 23, and he's only attempted 1 kick from longer than 23. He missed from 32 last week. Back to Hollins on the screen. Hollins to the 40. He's got a UNC first down. That will momentarily stop the clock until the ball is respotted.
The exact same play as the one before. Hollins just does a nice job of catching this one and converting.
Williams again checks down. Here's Logan, and he wisely gets out of bounds inside the 40, a gain of 2.
Down to closing in on a minute 15 left, and all 3 timeouts. So there is plenty of time here. Now you want to make sure that you get in comfortable field goal range, if not in the end zone, but don't leave a lot of time on the clock.
Here's the blitz on 2nd down. Williams over the middle. Pulled in at the 30-yard line by Ryan Switzer. And Switzer having himself a career game. 9 catches 136 yards.
And you talked about the blitz, and it was picked up extremely well and leaving that receiver wide open.
Here's the blitz again. North Carolina will run it. It's the quarterback. Williams still on his feet. He's to the 25-yard line. And the clock's still running. Coming up on 50 seconds to go, and Williams a little shaken up.
Williams blew a tire, I think. I think he lost his shoe, so yeah, that's a good time to call a timeout. And Marquise Williams makes a play out of nothing. This is chased down from the backside, but that young man has put this team on his back, and now he has a chance to close it out.
Now his performance has been Herculean. 37 out of 46. 375 yards. And there he is, shoeless Williams. And he is our Wrangler player of the game. 5 total touchdowns. Remember, last week he was just the 4th player in conference history to throw for 300 yards and run for 100 yards in a game. He might have a chance to do that again if he breaks one. But you said the word earlier, you said the phrase comfortable field goal range. You've got a kicker in Weiler,
yeah, who
hasn't connected from longer than 23 and only has 1 attempt from longer than 23, which he missed.
Your offensive mentality is we're going to get this in the end zone. That's what Seth Luttrell, the play caller for UNC, is thinking right now. We don't want to take undue chances, but we do want this thing in the end zone. Don't put it on our kicker. Let's keep it on our quarterback.
48 seconds to go, UNC with 2 timeouts. Georgia Tech brings pressure off the edge. Williams will run it up the middle. And he's not going to get very far, met by Quayshawn Neely.
They're going to be forced to burn a timeout here. I would think this is going to run a lot of time off the clock.
From here, it's about a 42-yard field goal. Larry Fedora electing not to call a timeout on 3rd and 4. Here's the pressure. Screen pass. There is a flag on the play. Morris inside the 10. Bumped out by Isaiah Johnson, but there is a flag all the way back at the 35-yard line.
I think this play is going to stand. I think number 40 right there, Paul Davis, put an extra lick on the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 40 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the play. First down.
And Paul Davis with an ill-timed penalty for Georgia Tech, and that was clear.
Yeah, he took a couple extra steps, plus it was high. I think both of those things would have been called a penalty right there.
All right, well, now this is comfortable field goal range. You're at the 5-yard line. 20 seconds to go, UNC with 2 timeouts.
I still think you take some concepts to the edge with your quarterback and try to get this into the end zone. You have 2 timeouts, so you can even afford to get caught in bounds, so the run game is still on the table as well.
Logan and Morris, the split backs. Williams scrambling, thrown for the end zone. Hollins can't hold on to it. There is a flag on the play. Chris Milton was on the coverage.
Not a bad play by Milton. It only cost you 2.5 yards,
right.
So that's not a bad penalty by number 6.
Pass interference, number 6 defense. The foul third in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Now here, Kelly, do you just try to center it and give your kicker a shot?
I have 2 timeouts left. I'm still trying to get this in the end zone. I do not like kickers trying to decide football games when my best player is number 12, my quarterback.
It's a handoff on the ground. Touchdown, North Carolina, T.J. Logan. The first touchdown of the season for T.J. Logan, the sophomore from Greensboro, and North Carolina retakes the lead with 11 seconds left in regulation, and it looks like UNC will go for 2. Now this has been a wild game. Both teams have combined for almost 1,200 yards of total offense.
We didn't get the same number of points as we did a couple of years ago.
We got more offense.
Yardage-wise, you're exactly right.
UNC going for 2. Williams under center. Francis, the deep back. Williams rolls to his right. Under pressure, throws it back. And that's the lineman, John Ferrento. I don't think he was eligible. There's a flag on the play.
Typically, when you have a gadget that's going to make an offensive lineman eligible, you alert the officials to that. And I'm not sure that UNC was successful on that. It was a beautiful thing to see, though.
You know, we were waiting for the gadget play from North Carolina all night.
That was it right there, and what a variety it
Personal
was.
foul. Illegal block below the waist. Number 70 of the offense. Blocking back toward his own goal line. The ball was out of the free blocking zone. That's a 15-yard penalty. We will replay the try from the left middle hash.
So Ferrento was good.
He was good.
But Peterson got called for blocking back away from your own goal line, which is illegal.
You take a touchdown away from an O-lineman, you're going to hear about that in team meetings.
Number 70 out in front of this play cannot block back low away from your own goal line, and that's what number 70 did. He needed to stay high right there, and he would have been fine. You just can't go low the opposite direction away from your goal line.
It wasn't a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, but Peterson might owe Ferrento a few dinners.
Yeah, he's buying the pizza, I guarantee you that.
Not often the big guy gets in the line, but North Carolina will still go for 2, backed up. Williams will step up. Now he'll just try to run. And he's not going to get the 2-point conversion. So Georgia Tech will get it back. Down 5, 11 seconds to go in regulation. There's the go-ahead touchdown. TJ Logan's first score of the season.
The run game tonight, because UNC has had the lead or been close to the lead in this game, they've been able to keep their run game on the table. That hasn't happened much this year. It happened last week against Notre Dame, and the result was a pretty good one. Offensively, they were able to put some points on the board against a really good Notre Dame defense.
Marquise Williams has really been about half of the rushing attack for most of the season. He's accounted for about 75 yards per game. North Carolina averages about $150, and the running backs really have not contributed much, and the coaches were looking for players to step up. Elijah Hood was out with a knee injury. Romar Morris had some nice runs. Chris Francis made some plays in his limited duty, and TJ Logan really stepped up. A season-high 75 yards, and obviously the go-ahead score.
And I think Williams, the willingness to have him as a viable runner of the football from the quarterback position makes the defense defend with 11 hacks, 11 fits in the run game, and that's a tremendously hard thing to do. And then, oh, by the way, they throw it really well also.
There's the squib kick, fielded at the 25-yard line. And that's Anthony Harrell. He'll just go down at the 30. So Georgia Tech has the ball with 3 timeouts and 9 seconds left here in regulation. We've seen Justin Thomas connect on some deep plays. We've seen North Carolina's defense give up big plays this season.
I think what you have time for is to run something to the sideline to try to gain enough yards to get a Hail Mary on the second play into the end zone. I would expect that's what we're going to see right now out of Georgia Tech.
4-receiver look for the first time tonight. Thomas rolling to his right. Heaves it downfield in traffic. It's tipped, and it's incomplete. There is still 1 second left.
Pass is incomplete.
I think it's the little things like that. To me, Thomas is obviously not getting it into the end zone, so run a play to pick up 15 or 20, and then he has an opportunity to get it all the way into the end zone on the second play. Did this
if
ball
the ball hits the ground? It hits the foot of the player. Ooh.
This play is going to be reviewed further, and you might be right. That might be an interception and a kneel down away from this game being over.
Yeah, that looked like it hit the foot of, I believe that was Brian Walker. Let's see if we can get one more look. That's Dominique Green and Tim Scott, 26 and 7. And it's either the foot of Green or Scott.
I think it is Green. I think you had it right to begin with, number 26. Now it hits the ground as well. It hits the back of the leg of Green, hits the ground, and then goes up in the air. That last look, guys, the one previous to this.
Right there, did it hit the ground or did it hit his leg?
Go back to the prior look, and I think we'll see. Go in slow motion there, and I think that's exactly what happens right here.
Yeah,
right there.
Okay.
The nose of it hits the ground. That's a great look at it, guys, and rightly called on the field to begin with.
You see the turf.
But it's little things like that. I mean, Justin Thomas obviously doesn't have a strong arm to throw it very far down the field. The defense was playing so deep, you could have run a 15 to 18 yard out route and you'd have been on about the 45 plus 45 yard line. Now he can probably get it to the end zone. I don't understand why you would just throw it up on that last play.
1 second left. And I don't think this is going to be reviewed, or I should say overturned.
No. I think it should be confirmed.
The previous play, reviewed it, and it's confirmed incomplete pass.
So now what you might have is
reviewed the play. Georgia Tech is not charged a timeout.
What's the call here now with 1 second left? Obviously, Thomas can't throw it 65 yards. Are we talking hook and lateral?
Yes, multiple laterals. You know,
you got to believe,
throw it back across the field.
You got to believe Paul Johnson has something buried in that playbook for these situations.
Yeah, this is very difficult, but keep the play alive, and who knows what can happen.
It comes down to this. That's caught. No, it's incomplete, and North Carolina snaps a 4-game losing streak. Larry Fedora told us yesterday his team just needs to get going. He saw some signs in the loss to Notre Dame last week, and this was an absolute thriller. Both teams offensively were superb, but North Carolina prevails 48-43, and UNC not only snaps their 4-game losing streak, the Tar Heels get their first conference win of the season. And if the ACC Coastal was crazy before the day started, it's even more chaotic now.
And the reality is, there really isn't a favorite in that group. It's whoever gets hot right now.
Let's go down to Cara Capuano with Coach Fedora.
Coach, you look at all the points on the board, the offense from both teams. What ultimately won this game for North Carolina?
Well, we made a stop when we needed to make a stop. That was the biggest thing. It's not how many points we score, it's how many their team scores. So our defense stepped up and stopped them when it needed to.
You told us yesterday you wanted to see this team turn a corner. What did they show you tonight?
Well, that they're going to keep fighting. They're not going to give up. They're going to keep practicing hard. They got great attitudes, and they're believing in each other. So that's all we need.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Anish?
North Carolina with its first ACC win of the season. The Tar Heels snap a 5-game losing streak against Georgia Tech. And remember, UNC last year finished the season 6-1. Larry Fedora hoping a win can springboard North Carolina for the second half of the 2014 season. Our final score from Chapel Hill. UNC wins a thriller, 48-43. Coming up next, it's ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by McDonald's. MEAC action, Hampton and Norfolk State. But first, the studio and Brendan Fitzgerald.